Liars for Hire. Liars for Hire. Hi everyone, welcome to Liars for Hire -1. I'm debating on whether or not to call this Liars4Hire or Liars3Hire. Because Liars4Hire is, assuming the number 4, and I'm wondering if it should be -1 or divided in half. I'm wondering which is more sort of sound. This is an episode that I'm recording by myself because I couldn't record yesterday, and Jackson can't record today, and it is currently the day before Monday, and so I'm just thinking, all right, we want to get something out, so I'm going to record half a long podcast, a podcast that's half as long with just me. So, if you're looking to fall asleep right now to the sound of my voice, please do so. I don't expect anybody to listen to this entire thing intently, thinking that I've got some important things to say, because truly I do not. I've just hit record on Audacity, and I'm going to talk for the next 30 minutes. What about? I'm not sure. Probably Resident Evil 7, which I've been playing a lot lately. And we'll figure something out together, okay? So, first of all, what's Jackson doing? That's a great question. Jackson is out. He is out, and he's hanging out with some people today. I don't know exactly what it is he's doing, nor do I think it's my place to sort of divulge that information without Jackson's permission, but he is out, and he's about. Second question, is Jackson doing skateboarding tricks? Probably not. No, not this time. A lot of the time when Jackson goes out, he's doing skateboarding tricks, and I think that's awesome, but not this time. This time he's doing, I think he's doing conversational tricks, wooing people, perhaps maybe getting some numbers. I don't know. Truly, I just don't know. That's his business, not of mine. Question 3. What am I going to be talking about? Well, up until this point, I've kind of just been giving you exactly what I've been thinking. It's been a stream of consciousness type thing. Eventually I'll probably have to run. I'll run out of stuff to say, and I'll have to actually put thought into the words that I'm saying. But until then, here we are. It may also involve me just literally going to the bathroom in the middle of the podcast, and I won't cut that out. But who cares? Now, what have I been doing? That's a great question. The reason I couldn't record yesterday is because it turns out that my dog, he's getting pretty old, and my parents have been talking about putting him to sleep. And I don't want to say putting him down, because that implies we had to, or it was important for the safety of others. That's not really the case. We're just putting him to sleep because he's genuinely just very old. I was sad about it because, he was a very good friend of mine, and he had been since I was 10 years old. But, at the end of the day, we gave him love and protection and safety and companionship for 12 years, and he lived past his life expectancy. So really, we did everything we could do. He's not succumbing to injury or sickness. It's just old age, so it is what it is. I won't talk too extensively about that because that's kind of a big bummer, but you get the idea. Now, what did I do today? That's a great question. Recently, I've been really, really into Resident Evil 7 speedrunning. My current personal best is 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 37 seconds, which I just got today. I was streaming it. And I've been thinking about why Resident Evil 7 in particular hooked me as much, because I've never sped run a game before. I don't know if it's speed run or sped run, but I've never sped run a game before. And I even before I was looking at strats and routing and official stuff for the speed run, I never, I was doing really basic stuff. I think the game kind of incentivizes it because there's an achievement that you can get by beating the game in under 4 hours. I'm gonna take a sip of water. And so just naturally, the game just is hey, we're going to push you to speedrun. And I think that's kind of what made me acquainted to the route in general, or at least the idea of just getting through it as fast as possible. But it's been a lot of fun. I joined the speedrunning Discord, and I've met some cool people, and they're all very kind and supportive. And it's you always hear that about speedrunning communities. You always hear they're all so nice and encouraging, and they're willing to share information and stuff, and that's true. I never thought that would be as true as it is, but it's very, very true. Currently, the speedrunning category that there are 4 main categories. There's Easy New Game Plus, Madhouse, and Madhouse New Game Plus. The reason there's no normal is because the only difference between normal and easy mode is like enemies take less damage, or rather you do less damage. Enemies have the same amount of health and you just do less damage. I run New Game Easy. The most competitive category is New Game Plus Easy, which allows you to start with all the New Game Plus stuff. But I don't like doing that. I like the New Game Easy because it's sort of there's more resource management, and resource management is cool. You know, you got to pick shit up, you got to make more ammo. I just think it's really, really interesting and a lot more engaging of a speedrun. It takes a little bit longer, but you know, also it's not as hotly contested as New Game Plus Easy, and I think that running New Game Plus Easy and getting 257th place versus running New Game Easy and getting 55th place. The 55th place just feels better. Even if there's like a 3-to-1 ratio difference in terms of the amount of runs. They're currently, I think, something like 315 for New Game Plus Easy, whereas there's only 90 or 89 actually for New Game Easy. So it's just easier to get a better time. You're guaranteed to get within the top 100 because 100 runs haven't even been submitted yet, but Anyway, I've been really having fun with Resident Evil 7. I really like the characters, and I like the setting, and I like, just a whole lot about it. It was one of the first horror games that I really bought for myself when it came out. Because when I was younger, I think this obsession started when I was probably 11 or 12. But I would look up on YouTube Silent Hill 4 all bosses, or Silent Hill 2 all. So no, I think the first one that I really got into was Silent Hill Homecoming all bosses, because I've always really, really loved monster design, in horror specifically. I've always been super into monster design and horror as an idea or as a concept. Even though I'm kind of a big wuss, excuse me. I've always really been into scary stuff. I love the SCP Foundation. I've always loved creepypasta and stuff like that. So horror in general has always been a big attractor for me, and I was finally at the age where I was making money when Resident Evil 7 came out, so I could buy it for myself. And it was very exciting, and I think I streamed the first time I played it, only after having watched a whole lot of other people on YouTube play it, because I just could not help myself. I only watched the first third of the game though before I bought it and streamed it for myself. But I was still spoiled a little bit on the beginning part. But either way, I really enjoyed it, and I still do enjoy it, and that's why I speedrun it. Aside from that, today I played Sea of Thieves with some friends. I played it with Robbie and DY and Callie, and it was fun. And Sea of Thieves is it's enjoyable. I really do enjoy Sea of Thieves. I enjoy the pirating, and I enjoy the sailing around and the exploration and the PvE and stuff like that. I think truly that PvP, while it's a unique sort of design concept, especially within that game specifically, and sort of how it presents it and wraps it up, I think PvP is too incentivized. I think stealing shit is too incentivized, and killing other players is too incentivized. I think there's too much of a focus and too much of a reward system based around the player interaction, which I know I feel like it's very selfish of me to say that, because the whole point of Sea of Thieves is that it's a big open ocean with a bunch of actual players that are other pirates, and the player interaction is kind of limited to PvP, because you can't you can make alliances, but nobody wants to make alliances. It's the prisoner's dilemma, or not the prisoner's dilemma. It's that thing where it's there are 4 outcomes. You two people have buttons. If one person pushes the button and the other person doesn't, then the person who pushes the button will get a reward and the other person will get punished. If you both push the button, you both get punished. And if neither of you push the button, then fucking both of you get, oh my god, it's like get nothing, but neither of you are punished. And so you're incentivized to not press the button, but if you don't press the button, there's also the chance that the other person will press the button, and they'll get a reward, and you'll get punished, right? So it's 3 outcomes, not 4. But that's like the thing, is that when you approach an enemy ship in Sea of Thieves, that same thing happens, that same sort of dilemma, where if you're the first one to cause problems, then you're the aggressor. If you do nothing, you're leaving yourself open. And if you both do nothing, then nothing happens. But at the same time, if you leave yourself open, then you're leaving yourself open. If you don't attack, you're leaving yourself open. If you're not the one to shoot first, then you're the one who's gonna get shot first, or has the chance of getting shot first. And so that's why it's so hard to make alliances in Sea of Thieves with people that you don't know already. I think that it's unfortunate that the main way they're sort of going about bolstering player interaction is by rewarding more PvP, player versus player. And I think if there were more like, if there are ways to like sign up with alliances or like align yourself with certain trade companies like the Gold Hoarders or the Soul Searchers or fucking whatever. If there was some like charter that you could get on, and if enough people signed up for like a certain alliance in a single server, then new special events would be unlocked that incentivize working together. I think that would be a lot more fun. As it stands, the only real player interactions that's encouraged is going to another person and killing them and stealing their shit. That's kind of like the only thing that's really encouraged, which is really unfortunate, because I feel like Sea of Thieves has always had this problem of just there being a core gameplay loop, and the core gameplay loop is fun, but then you finish the core gameplay loop, and then there's nothing else to do. And you can continue with that core gameplay loop ad infinitum. You can just keep doing it forever and keep watching the numbers go up, and that's fine. But after a while, getting on your ship and fucking going to an island and digging up the treasure, and then going to another island, digging up the treasure, and then turning all the treasure in while avoiding enemy ships, or going to an island and fighting a bunch of skeletons, and then going to another island, fighting a bunch of other skeletons, and going to another island, and then going and selling all their skulls, that loop gets boring. And eventually, you see all the islands. There's a set map in Sea of Thieves, and all the islands are always in the same place. And, everything is all, set in stone. The only thing that's randomized is enemy spawning. And even that is, it's still sort of, kind of tied to certain areas of a map. And it's really unfortunate. And it like I said, this has been the problem since 2016 with Sea of Thieves. So I just, in general, I have fun sometimes with Sea of Thieves, but other times it's just like I'd rather be doing something else. I've been thinking lately about like how much of a gamer I actually am, and I say gamer not like in the meme sense, but in the actual like somebody who plays video games and that's like their main thing sense. I think I enjoy video games in the same way people enjoy books without being a reader, or enjoy movies without being like a cinema guy. I think I just like playing video games sometimes, and there'll be swaths of time where I just don't play a video game. I don't play a video game for a long while, and it'll go on for like a week or two. And it's not because I'm depressed or anything. It's just like, nah, I don't really feel like playing a video game right now. Like, this year and last year, I went through 2 little, I guess, periods of time where I watched a bunch of movie series. Last year I watched all the Harry Potter movies and really enjoyed it. And then this year I watched most of the Marvel movies, and then I kind of fell off around, I think, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. No, I think the last one I watched was Spider-Man Homecoming. And then I stopped. I would like to get back on that because I think pretty much all the movies after that are good, except for Captain Marvel. I never finished Captain Marvel. Anyway, so yeah, it's like game. I'm not really much of a, and I know this is sort of ironic considering I consider myself a Let's Player, but I wouldn't really consider myself a gamer. I sort of just like games, and I think that's fine. I think that tying yourself down to a certain title is really reductive. I feel like by putting yourself in a box, you're really limiting your ability to see yourself in any other way. Which, it's not like, oh, you put yourself in the box and so you're psychologically locked down to this one sort of subset of humanity. But it's, in linguistics or in anthropology, linguistics are like thought to carry a whole lot of weight and a whole lot of power, and the terminology and the verbiage that you use to describe certain things very deeply reflect how you sort of see the world and interpret it and communicate your worldview to others. So, which it seems obvious, but I don't know. It's more important and deep than you may think. I actually, that reminds me of a phone call that I was having with my dad a couple months ago, where I don't know how to describe this family. It's a family that is family friends. It's like a family that's just full of family friends. So it's just a friend family, I guess. But one of the people from that particular family had been taking estrogen. They were assigned male at birth, and they'd been taking estrogen. And my dad called me about it to let me know. And he was like, "Yeah, so they're taking estrogen now, and I'm not entirely sure what their pronouns are." And my dad was raised Mormon, which is a subset of Christianity, typically very strict, kind of seen as weirder. And we sort of broke out of it when I was around 15 when I came out as gay. That's an entirely different story though. Yeah, he said, so it turns out, they've been taking estrogen because it turns out that that's sort of like what their brain needed to feel balanced. And I've been doing a lot of, this is as my dad, I've been doing a lot of thinking about that. I've decided that to really let people flourish, you can't put them in boxes and expect them to be their full selves. You can't just diagnose somebody as a way to be, and then that's how they are. And, then you can't turn around and say, okay, now I need you to be exactly who you are within that box. He didn't say that exactly. I'm sort of ad hominem here. But, it was really nice to hear that from my dad, who had, by all means, been given what is essentially a conservative upbringing, if not, centrist right. For him to say that out of his own volition, even, I didn't have to explain it to him, and I didn't have to, tell him oh, the pronouns are important or whatever. He just figured that out by himself, and I think that's really cool. My dad's a really smart guy. My dad is a very, very smart man, and I respect him a whole lot because he's not just smart and stubborn. He's smart and adaptable. Like I said, when I came out as gay, which is that now evolved into pansexual, and it's more just I think the word for it is demisexual, where it's just you become attracted to people you have emotional attachment to or something like that. I digress. When I came out as what I said was gay back then, without going too much into it, if Robbie's listening, I think he might be fucking rolling his eyes. Fucking when I came out when I was 15, I was riding in the car on my way back from school with my mom, and I'd never been in a relationship before, and so my mom and my family always teased me about getting a girlfriend, and And my mom said, talk to any girl, because I was like talking to my friend. I think her name was Jaden at the time. Her name is still probably Jaden, unless something drastic has changed. But I was talking to Jaden, and my mom saw me talking as she picked me up, and she was like, "Oh, is that your girlfriend?" And I was like, "Well, no, that was my friend Jaden." And she was like, "Come on, Chase, do you even like girls?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then she, because she was joking around, and then she was like, "Chase, do you not like girls? Do you like boys?" And I was like, "Maybe." And then we were just kind of silent for the rest of the ride home. I've told this story many times before, so if you follow me on any other platforms, there's a likelihood you've heard it before. But anyway, so my parents didn't really talk to me for the rest of the day, and then I went to bed, and then the next day at dinner, my dad said, "Hey everybody, I just want you to know that next Sunday I don't think we're going to be going back to church." And we were like, "Hey, why?" And he said, I was doing some thinking about what Chase said, and I was really thinking about what that means to me and my religion, the religion that I've known for 50 years, and I don't think my son can be wrong, so my religion has to be wrong, and for that reason we are not going back to church. And that's another that's another example of my father being just incredibly adaptable and forward thinking, despite the fact, like I said, he'd been in that religion for 50 years. Despite the fact that he had every single reason, and every single, not reason, but every single rather excuse to be sort of stuck in his ways and unwilling to change. He didn't have to change. Under no circumstances did he have to give way and sort of learn, because he's doing well for himself. He doesn't need to adapt if he doesn't want to. But the fact that he did, and I know that's a very low bar to clear, but the fact that he did, it means a lot to me. It always has meant a lot to me. Both of my parents are very, very good people. I'm exceptionally proud to be their son. And whenever anybody says you remind me of your parents, I take that with stride, because if I'm like my parents, then I'm obviously doing something very right. My mom has always been a very big artist. She's always dedicated a room in the house to her as her studio. And she's got a bunch of paint supplies and easels and stuff like that, and my parents, we're not like millionaire. We're not a millionaire family, but my dad owns a company, so we're well off. They're able to pay my tuition, and I'm very grateful for that. My tuition is $5,000. It's not American tuition. God, if it was an American tuition, I don't think they'd be able to pay it. But because it's a Japanese tuition of $5,000 a semester, they're able to help me out. But my mom, because they have that money and because they're empty nesters now, they can just go out and travel the world. And my mom likes to go to like France and paint or Scotland or Italy, and I think that's so sick. I think that's awesome that she has that, she is that creative and that she's that talented and she has that outlet, because it brings her a lot of joy, and I think that's really, really wonderful. I was saying all this great stuff about my dad. It all applies to my mom as well. My mom has always, I think, been the most progressive person in our family. In terms of like liberalism, I guess. I've been talking about my parents for like 10 minutes now. I apologize for that. But if you ever wonder why I talk about, like I call my mom on stream or whatever so much, it's because I love them so much. But yeah, no, my parents are great. Anyway, going back, sort of tracking that back to my dad's great. When I came out, he was great. My dad says you can't put people in the boxes. You can't. I've been thinking about putting myself into the boxes of being a gamer. I don't play the games that like as much as other people. Going back to Sea of Thieves. And so I played Sea of Thieves today. And then I got into bed and I jacked off and I took a nap. And that was great. and I woke up around, I think 6 o'clock. I had a nap. The nap was like at 4 o'clock, and I woke back up at 6. And I ordered this little like bun thing. They called it a donut. It was like an Italian fried donut. And it was full of like custard, I guess you could call it, but it tasted like raw pancake batter. It was really weird. Like the outside was like flaky and like crunchy. I don't know why I thought the onomatopoeia was necessary, or the sound effect rather. Onomatopoeia would be like crunch, but that was just, which is more of just a sound effect. So the outside was fine, but the inside just tasted like way too. Like, it tasted like something that felt like it should have been baked, you know? So I ate half of it, and I was like, I don't have to eat everything that I pay for. I'm not doing great in terms of funds, but I also am allowed to just not eat this if I really don't want to. And so I threw the other half of it away. But I also got some fries from that place, which is a bakery. I don't know why they're selling fries. They were good as fuck. The fries were like good as hell. They were GNC as fuck, dude. I'm gonna go pee real quick. I'll be right back. Hi there. Yeah, so the fries were like really, really good. They were something that I've noticed is that as I've grown older, my palate has grown more complex, which isn't to say like I like the things that I didn't like when I was a kid, but rather I'm able to enjoy the things that I liked more. For example, I don't like tomatoes, and I never have, even as a kid. Still don't. Never liked eggs, still don't. But I do like French fries, and I always have. And I've grown like I've grown the ability to like appreciate the taste of French fries more. And the way that that's sort of shown itself is in the way that I don't have to have ketchup anymore. Because usually, like before, it was just like, oh, French fries and ketchup. You dip the ketchup you dip the French fries in ketchup, and then you eat it. And it tastes good, and that's fine. That's still fine. But I've actually, I don't think I've dipped French fries in ketchup for like 5 years. And I've grown the ability, or developed, I think that's the word I'm looking for when I've been saying grown. I've developed the ability to appreciate the flavor of the potato, and like how much salt is on it, and the type of oil they use, and how long it was deep fried for, and like if the potatoes were, if this is like a natural cut French fry, or if it's like a shaped French fry out of like potato dough or whatever the fuck. So that's something I would encourage you to do. If you eat French fries and you only eat them with ketchup, I would very heavily encourage you to try to eat them plain. It is not out of necessity that I do it. I have 2 bottles of ketchup literally to my right. I can pick it up, and here you go. That's a bottle of ketchup. One of the 2 that I have. Why they're right next to my desk? Well, it's hardly any of your business. But it's just because I think I like the salty flavoring of a potato by itself, and I don't necessarily need the sweetness of ketchup to counteract that. But yeah, so let's see. After that, I was on Discord, and I was checking out my friends and what they were up to, and I checked up on the Discord speedrunning community, and yeah, and that was pretty much my day. After that, I laid in bed for a little bit, And then I decided, you know what? I'll record a half-long podcast with only me since Jackson's out right now, just so we have something to put up. You know what? I'm glad that I did. We're reaching the end, the 30-minute mark, which is what I was aiming for, and I was able to talk pretty consistently throughout. I really thought there was going to be some point where I was just struggling to come up with something new to talk about. But you know what? It turns out when you're having a conversation and you're really following a flow of conscious, like a stream of consciousness, then you can typically follow that thread to the very end. And you know what? I'm happy that I did. So, hey everybody, this has been Liars for Hire. Thanks so much for listening. We're going to be back again tomorrow with another Let's Play, probably, I don't know. We've been both sort of really busy, so we haven't exactly had a lot of time to record, but I'll try to pester Jackson about recording tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to get something out. But until then, hey, I've been Chase. You can find me at twitter.com/clown_depot, and you can also find me at Twitch at clown_depot. And you can find Jackson, who wasn't here today, at lumberjack2on. On Twitch and Twitter. It's a Lumberjackson, but the S in Jackson is a 2, because somebody took Lumberjackson, and he's really upset about that. Reasonably so, because it's a great name. It would be nice if he could snag it. Anyway, I'll see you all later on. Have a great night. Bye!